District. The off-season is the best time to take advantage of huge grants to change out your fireplace or old wood stove with something cleaner and get your EPA-certified wood or pellet-fueled device registered before the next season begins. From the Valley Air District, this is your Healthy Air Living Report. Incentives are still available for Valley residents to receive $1,000 and low-income residents to receive $2,500 to upgrade from open hearth fireplaces and older non-certified wood stoves and inserts to new EPA-certified devices and an additional $500 when upgrading to a natural gas device. And registering your clean-burning wood or pellet stove or insert with the Valley Air District allows you to burn more frequently during winter months while still reducing pollution. Visit valleyair.org and find out more about the Burn Cleaner program and how to register your EPA-certified wood or pellet burning heater. This has been your Healthy Air Living Report from the Valley Air District.
This program does not reflect the views of KXVS management or KXVS, the voice of Stockton.
My name is Miriam, and I am the voice of Stockton.
Well, good afternoon. This is Lion Connie O'Day, president of the Stockton San Joaquin Lions Club here in Stockton, California, USA. And I wanted to start the day out to talk about the fact that we are in our 100th centennial year for the Lions International anniversary. And Lion clubs around the world have some of the goals that International has asked us to do, and to reach out to at least 100 million people by June 2018. The challenging campaigns that we have right now and the goals are in the 4 areas of youth, hunger, the youth disabilities especially, and the environment. So those are the main things that we are looking at with the 100th year anniversary. And don't forget to send in all your hours and your projects that you're working on to International so you get credit for that. Now I want to share something that our Stockton San Joaquin Lions clubs are very, very proud of right now. Our past president, Jennifer Gass, she and her daughter left on Sunday to La Mission, Baja California, Mexico, to the Door of Faith Orphanage. And along with other members from her church, they are going to be staying at the orphanage for a week and helping out there. And they also will be cooking a lot of meals. The Stockton San Joaquin Lions Club donated several $100s so that they could have a meal that they never get during the year because of the lack of finances. But they're going to have hot dogs and hamburgers and potato chips, potato salad, all the fixings of a great picnic. So we're really proud of Jennifer and her daughter Mia, who is about 11 years old. And they have gone on this trip and done this mission work for about 3 years. And we're very proud of her and hope she has a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I know she's bringing a lot of love and a lot of Christian faith with her when she is there. The other thing, we are now moving into the student speaker contest here in the state of California. This is the 81st annual student speaker contest for California, and it's for the year 2017-2018. This year's topic is quite a topic. It's integrity and civility play what role in today's society? So this is for high school children, or high school students, I should say. Those who are in high school, they could be in a charter school, a private school, be having homeschooling, as long as they are in a credited type of school. They are invited to join into the student speaker contest, and this is to give scholarships to students. And at the club level, students will receive $100, the winning speech or speaker. And for the other finalist speakers, they will each receive $25. Then at the zone level, the winning student will receive $150. And then at the region level, they will receive $250. Now, the winner there at the region level will go to the district contest level. And this is paid by the Lions 4th District Student Speakers Foundation. At this level, there will be 15 winners, and each winner shall receive $4,500 in scholarship money. Now, the winners at this level will go on to the area contest, and the winner there will receive $6,500 more in scholarships. So by this time, one person has at least close to 12, I think it's $12,000 already in scholarships. And then the final contest is at our MD4 convention, and that winner will receive $10,000 in scholarships. So that person has already won $21,000 in scholarships. For when they graduate from high school, they will select the college or industry school, industrial school, or whatever is considered a credentialed university or higher learning of education by the Student Speakers Foundation. Then the money then will be given to the school, and however the student wants it to be done, by semester or all at once. But this money is not given directly to the student. It's held in the foundations until they go to college. But it's a great opportunity for students to receive a lot of scholarship money. So I hope all of you Lions and Lions Club out there in California will participate this year in the Student Speaker Contest. For the Stockton San Joaquin Lions, we are participating. I'm the chairman this year of our club. This will be with the other club that I used to belong to. It'll be my 8th or 9th year doing the Student Speaker Contest. And I really enjoy it. It's a wonderful project here in California. So I hope you'll all get out with your clubs and start now, because the first speech contest at the club level has to be completed by March 22nd of 2018. So this is a great time to start, so the students during their Christmas break, they can work on their speech contest. Now, some other announcements. The Stockton Host Lions Club here in Stockton, California, they're getting pretty close to celebrating their 100th year anniversary. And they are having their annual Super Crab Feed Bowl. They call it the Super Crab Bowl because it's the day before the Super Bowl, and it will be February 3rd at the Presentation Church here in Stockton, California on February 3rd at 6:30 p.m. And it's one of the best crab feeds that we have here in the Stockton area. So I hope you'll get in touch with the Stockton Host Lions Club and purchase your tickets for that. Also, many of us all through the state do support and participate in the Relay for Life. Now in Stockton, our next Relay for Life is going to be June 23rd, 2018. So I hope all of you in Stockton will participate, all the clubs. And Linden is their Relay for Life will be in April 14th. And then Lodi is going to be August 18th of 2008. And then we have a combination of Manteca, Lathrop, and Ripon are having a Relay for Life April 21st. So those are some of our local announcements of things that are happening. And there is also going to be another crab feed from the Stockton Phil-Am Lions Club here in Stockton, California. And that's going to be January 21st. So we got a couple of crab feeds, one right after the other. And if you're a real crab eater, this is your opportunity to really get filled up on crab at the beginning of the year. So the Phil-Am Lions Club, it will be on January 20th at 5:30. The doors will be open. Dinner will be served at 6:30, and it will be at the Filipino Plaza Social Hall, 6 West Main Street here in Stockton. And another announcement that I have is for District 4, District 4A1 Lions Clubs, the district quarterly meeting that was just done this weekend turned out to be a wonderful success. We had a speaker that talked about the preparedness in emergencies. And online, if you go to the 4A1 website, you can find the link that'll take you to all the information of what you should know about being prepared for emergencies. And as we have seen with the fires and with the floods, both in Houston, Texas, and the fires out here in California, a lot of people were not ready for an emergency. And a lot of people were left with nothing. And it's time to really look at how are you going to handle emergencies like fires and floods and earthquakes. And so I hope that you'll go to the website at District 4A1, find the link to the emergency preparedness section, and take a real good look at that. Maybe even make a project out of it for your club. It's very important. And I want to remind everybody that we are getting close to raising enough money to match the money that International gave to the Calaveras Big Tree State Park's 3 Census Trail for the rehabilitation and upgrade to ADA standards for this trail in the Big Trees. And if you would like to donate to this trail, which is ADA accessible, please go to the website at calaverascommunityfoundation.org, and you can learn all about the contribution and what the foundation is doing to improve the Calaveras Sensory Trail. And it is being totally upgraded and made standard for people, especially in wheelchairs, scooters, who are blind, and other disabilities. And so this is a great project. It is being led by Arnold Lions Club in Arnold, California. And then I've always talked about the Relay for Life. That's wonderful. And then here we have the Multi-Club International Multi-District 4 LCI 6 Convention. That is going to be in February 5th through the 11th in 2018. That'll be at the Crown Plaza Hotel in San Diego, California. If you want information about it, if you haven't found the link on the Multi-District 4 website, you may call 1-888-233-9527 and get all the information and register for this wonderful Multi-District 4 convention. Okay, now today we have a guest speaker that is going to be talking to us today. He is Christopher Scott Blin, and he is an international management consultant. And some people have been calling him the real live Indiana Jones. We're going to have to ask him about that. He was graduated with a bachelor's bachelor's degree in business management before he went overseas to further his studies in Munich, Germany, and Latina University in Panama. And he has visited 96 countries around the world, and he has had work assignments in 12 of those, and I hope he'll tell us about his work assignments. Some of the highlights about this wonderful person is he is an author, but he has played basketball in the leagues of the United Kingdom as well as Australia, and he has dual citizenship in Australia. Christopher regularly gives key speaking addresses on the subject of surviving an overseas assignment in a developing country. And he has published his first book. I would like to show you this book right here. Let me get the camera on it.
This way.
Which way? Okay, you can hold it up, Christopher.
There we go. Swimming to Angola.
Swimming to Angola. And I'll let Christopher, in his information, tell us about his book. So I'd like everybody to meet Christopher Blin.
Yes.
And welcome to our show.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you very much for having me.
I'd like maybe you can start out telling us why some people call you the real Indiana Jones.
The real life Indiana Jones. Well, I happened to do a little bit of adventuring around the world. I wrote this book about surviving tips in 96 countries around the world, how to drive from here to South America, how to drive up and down the length of Africa, and come back in one piece with all your arms and legs attached, hopefully in the right places.
Oh, good.
What to do if someone pulls a machine gun on you in Africa, gypsies are trying to drug you in Eastern Europe. Yeah, all these things happen to me along the way, and this is what you can do to read about it and hopefully not go through all those bad parts, but enjoy the good parts.
Excellent. Excellent. So can you tell us, this is your first book, right? That you've written?
Yes, it was the first one, and I did some speaking tours throughout the United States, you know, from the East Coast and down the South, and yeah, I've done a few radio shows and TV shows along the way. Thank you.
Okay.
And, yeah, so right now I have a second and third book out right now, but this is the one that I'm promoting for you guys.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now you told me that you have visited over 96 countries and that you had assignments in 12. Now, what kind of assignments did you do?
Well, I worked with some clubs, like you guys have the Lions clubs, etc., about international goodwill, working in hospitals in Nigeria and schools down in South America. For example, in Nigeria, we put in 12 computers we installed at a hospital there, and I got to teach the courses on how to train the trainers, more or less. I would train these guys who are going to be teaching their staff how to use the computers and how the software is associated with that. And a couple of the people who were there originally setting up, spent a week and set these things up. And I ended up spending 3 months there in Western Africa, both Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Benin. And that was a good 3-month experience on how to figure out what the locals put up with on a daily basis.
Can you share some of that with the environment that they live in?
Yes, it was the environment that I lived in up there in northern Nigeria was semi-desert, if you will, and it was kind of dry and dusty. We had a town of 70,000 people in our little area, and there were streets and there was a lot of motorcycles, not too many private cars, but if you wanted to get around, you could go to the side of the road and kind of wave, and a motorcycle would stop by and pick you up. You jump on the back and you'd give them the equivalent of about 25 cents, and they'd drive you in the town wherever you wanted to go. And, fun things like that. That was when I was there for 3 months, and being the only the only white person there in the entire thing for 3 hours for 3 months. They know that oh, there's a white man here. There must be some monies involved here. So everybody was super nice to you.
And why was that?
Oh, if you have if you have some some things from the outside world, we're doing an assignment there, and they figure, oh, if I'm nice to this person, man, they're going to be nice to me. Maybe I might be part of the thing. Get a tip from my back pocket or something. It's kind of normal. If and that was throughout Africa, throughout all these developing countries that I've been to. It would be the equivalent of if, let's say, you were in your street and all of a sudden you saw this Arabian sheik stop, walking by. You go, wow, you don't see that every day. He's a sheik. Yes. I'm going to be really nice to this guy because he might throw me a couple $100 just as a little tip, And for us, we earn our money on our daily basis, but this guy might be a millionaire, so I'm going to be super nice to him, and he might think that I'm worthy of a tip. And so the same thing goes with me in Africa, or any Western-looking person in Africa, for example. They might be extra special to you, which is nice.
Right.
Yeah. And you always treat them extra special as well.
Now,
you're a guest.
Were you going to, do you call them towns or cities or villages that are off the main tourist attraction area?
Yes. For example, I one of my trips to Africa, I drove from Cape Town up to Kenya-Ethiopia border. And then I drove back down. So it's the equivalent of driving from San Francisco to New York City and back. And it took me 6 months, and I worked at some places along the way.
It took you 6 months to.
Yeah. It was,
so you were not just driving straight through. You were driving.
Yeah, and experiencing
and
helping out. Yeah, I like to have some adventures along the way, and I like to do some good things for the good people there. And I'd finished up one job in Cape Town, and then I had another one up in Nairobi. So instead of flying there, I said, I got my own car here. I might as well just drive the length of the continent. And it's safer to have more people rather than just on your own. So here I was driving through Africa, and I'd see a bus stop of some people, and I'd pull up and I'd roll the window down. I'd say, hey, who wants a free ride today? And so all these hands go up. I go, you jump on in. So it's me and about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 regular African natives, and driving through Africa together. I figured there's strength in numbers in case the car ever breaks down. Someone can help me push it or whatever. And also there'd be a lot less difficulties. Let's say you experience some bad things, like they'd have, instead of just killing me and taking my car, they'd have to kill 5 or 6 people too.
Now, now you're serious about that, the issues of safety.
Yeah.
Can you explain about why you have to be so safe, or what's happening in these countries that you're traveling through?
Okay. I'll start with America is a pretty safe country for the most part. We're like about if you took about an iceberg, 10% of it is above the water, and about 90% of it is below the water.
You're talking about America.
Yeah, America is about the 10%. We've got a pretty good thing going on here, and let me stress this: everybody who lives here in America won the lottery by being born here, because there's a lot of the world that is difficult. I mean, difficult to got to go out and you got to make your daily bread for the day. You also got to fend off people who might be wanting to attack you and hurt you and take everything you have. So we take it for granted that our safety is okay for us to have. We have high wages, we have high prices, and we have high security. Now, if you go to a developing country, they're going to have low wages, low prices, and low security. Once they get their better safety needs taken care of, and it's a lot easier for people to live, and not be afraid of what's out there, whether it be wild animals or marauding bad guys who are out there to steal and take from you. Once they get their securities underway, then you'll see that the differences between prices are going to even out a little bit. Right now, if I went to if you've ever had a chance of going to a developing country like Mexico's right next door to us, you'll find that things are a little bit cheaper there. Actually, they're probably a lot cheaper there.
Yes.
And then you go
most
to
of the times that's very true.
Right. And if you go to all these other developing countries, why is that? It's easy to make things here. We have high prices, but we also have high wages too. So when you see somebody like, there's a lot of good people in this world who say, "Oh, look at those bad businessmen. Oh, they're putting a factory down in Asia somewhere. I don't know, and they're only paying those poor people $2 a day. Oh my gosh! Well, guess what? $2 a day might be good money in that land,
in that particular area.
Yeah. Right. So you're not going to pay someone $20 an hour because we get paid $20 an hour. And the same thing, like let's say a Saudi Arabian sheikh comes over here and he says, "What? You guys are only making $20 an hour? I make $500 an hour. I want to pay all my employees here $500 an hour." And they're not going to do that. They're going to pay $20 an hour just like everything else. So if we pay $2 a day in those countries, it might be the going rate. Now the prices are not going to be the same prices as us. They're going to be cheaper prices. As a matter of fact, I tell people that there are 5 prices in the third world, in the developing world. Our prices, there's one price. It's the price that's on the price tag. Okay, and you're going to pay that. You might pay a little bit more for your sales tax or something like that. Okay, but in the developing country, there are no price tags. They take a look at you and think, what can this guy afford, and then they go from there. So the 3 basic prices are eye level, which is what they're going to want to charge. They're going to ask you for that. And you're going to counter with about chest level. You say, "Oh, I want to pay here." And then after some negotiations, you're going to get about neck level. Okay, those are the 3 basic prices.
So they don't have, like we have here, we have the Federal Labor Department, and they look over the labor wages and they look over labor laws and the rights of employees and the rights of the employers too. Mm-hmm. Do they have in some of these countries in Africa, third world countries, do they have anything like that, or is it just free for all?
Well, it is. Well, America is pretty much free for all too, except for we do have a minimum wage. But you can pay anybody what you want, and the same there too, for the most part. And well, let me finish with what I was starting on. Those were the 3 basic prices. A 4th price, for example, mm-hmm. might be what the native would pay for that same item that you just bought for neck level. And they would be paying, let's say, ankle level. Okay, so there's quite a difference between what I would pay for something and what the regular African person would pay for that same item.
So if Americans went over to which country would you say, Kenya or
Kenya's fine.
Kenya, and I assume that there is a large city of a real city type,
Nairobi, Kenya. Yes,
okay, yep. With skyscrapers and all the similar things of
not skyscrapers, but it has big buildings.
Yes,
like 3 or 4 stories. It could be.
Okay,
yes, right.
But then when we're talking about the natives, we're talking about villages, right? More of a village type of atmosphere.
It could be a village. It could be a city like that. Yeah.
Or a small town.
Yep. You get all sorts of things out there.
Right. Because a lot of people get different concepts when you're talking about third world.
Yeah.
And talking about natives. Mm-hmm. I would say that the exposure that the majority of people in America or mm-hmm. maybe Canada, they don't understand the concepts of villages or tribes, mm-hmm. because we never, since Native American days, we had tribes then. Mm-hmm. We still have, they call them tribes on reservations, but the other citizens of the United States, we don't call them tribes. And we don't use the terminology
Right.
native as a native is used in Africa.
No, girl. I was just saying that the native people, the regular people at those countries,
The citizens
Yeah.
of their particular area.
yeah, regular citizens. So, yeah, you have all types of. Let me just finish with the fifth price, for example.
Okay.
we got to what the native, a regular person would pay for that item that I paid up here for. They're putting it on down at ankle level, and but let's say there's a fifth price. Let's say you forgot to ask the price beforehand, and let's say you consumed it. Something like a taxi ride. You know, you've already consumed it and he dropped you off and you didn't really discuss price beforehand. Or let's say it was a meal or something like that and you ate it and you said, oh, that was great. Oh, by the way, how much do I owe you for that? Okay, well, remember that he was going to charge you at eye level before? Well, since you didn't mention the price, you know, and you didn't really figure it out beforehand, he's thinking, well, this guy doesn't really care about the price. So the price was going to be at eye level, but now since you didn't mention it, the price is way up there, about 2 feet over your head level. So, and that price is non-negotiable. Why is that? Because you already consumed it, and you already took the taxi ride, you already ate the burger, and he said, well, I was going to charge at eye level, but you know what, this guy doesn't care, so I'm just going to charge way up here over my head. And you're going to pay that price too. It's non-negotiable because you can't give it back.
Right.
So make sure, if he has to get a policeman to enforce that price, the policeman will enforce that price for him, and then he'll get something for his back pocket as well.
Oh my gosh.
So make sure
Yes.
that when you're talking about something, even something really basic, if you don't, and that high price might even be less than you pay here in America. But the thing is, you didn't get to negotiate and you paid an American price for it. So I thought I would just let you know. Always kind of be a little bit sharp.
Well, you
before
need to understand those things when you're traveling in other countries.
Right.
Because it's not like when you live here in the United States, what's going on in other countries is not like what we have here in the United States
Right.
as far as buying, selling, and rights and so forth too. So it's important to know where you're going and what to expect there. And now some of the things you were talking to me about, water,
Yes.
and it's something that you had seen, and one of the areas that the Lions are very much interested in and care a lot about is especially third world countries where they don't have running water like we do here.
Right.
Like we take it for granted. And many times, I don't know if you've done the same thing here at home or there in Australia, you turn your water on and all of a sudden I get to start thinking about, what if I couldn't have that water? What if I couldn't turn that water on?
Right.
And so I quickly turn it off if I'm not using it all to help save that. And I don't think a lot of people here in the United States have that concept when they're using water and some of our resources. But what you've experienced in these third world countries about water, can you share that with us today?
Sure. I worked at a hospital in Nigeria, like I started to tell earlier, and they had a little quarters for some visiting nurses that might be there or some doctors, and there was a room for me, and I had a nice little bed right there. It had an attached bathroom to it. It had a sink, it had a toilet, and it had a tub. It didn't have any running water though. So okay, so the way they got their water is a guy would come around once a week with a cart, and he got these 5-gallon big jugs of water, and I'd buy about 13 of those for I think $1. I think that was about the
$1.
No, for
a jug?
For all those things.
Oh, my.
And they would dump that into. I had a big. It was like a equivalent of a big plastic trash
can.
Trash can. Something, a heavy duty one, not a flimsy one, but a heavy duty trash can, very clean, and it has a nice lid on it. to seal out all the very clean trash can, and you just dump these 5-gallon things into that. About, I think they're 32-gallon tubs, aren't they? It's like a
lot of the larger trash barrels.
So they throw 5 or 6 of those into that thing, and then I bought some for the other guys too, for the nurses over there, because they want some water. Okay, here's $1. Here's $1. You got all this water for everybody for a week. So that was fun.
And so how was the water distributed?
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Well, you just buy your water, and like we buy our bottled water and stuff like
right.
that. But so then they gave me I have the big trash can, and with the plastic lid on top of it, and they gave me a Cool Whip bowl, something like that. You could dip it out, and if you want to flush your toilet, you take a big bowl scoop full of water and just flush it, throw it in the toilet. So
they had no plumbing in a lot of the villages in Kenya. Are you talking about Kenya?
Yeah, this is out in the this one was Nigeria, but it could be Kenya. It just depends on where you are, and we were a little bit rustic, which was great. We had 70,000 people in my town, but there was no piped water, so you had to go.
70,000 people
got their water from a guy coming around with a cart and dropping off the water.
And where did that person get the water?
I saw that once. There was a big hose, and it's this big huge hose, like a fire hose. It's coming out. I don't know where it's coming from. And then he's filling up his 5-gallon thing, and then he's filling up another one, and then filling up another one. He puts these on his cart, and then he comes by. The waterman's here. Who wants some water? So that's how we got our water. And if to flush the toilet, you scoop the thing out through in there, and if you want to get some hot water, you put it in a bucket.
And you have to
then you have this little, it's like a cattle prod, and you plug it into the electricity thing, and you stick that in there and just let it heat up for 5 minutes or so, and all of a sudden you got yourself some warm water. Okay.
So these are you talking about villages now? Would they be equivalent to what we would think of a village, or?
Well, this wasn't thatched houses or things like that, rooftops. But I have stayed in those things. That's pretty fun. No, but this was just a regular. A small town, and it had paved roads and stuff like that.
But they had electricity?
They had electricity, yes.
But no plumbing?
Yeah, that would be... Oh, no, wait. This had a toilet, so actually it did have plumbing, yes. Yeah. But you have to throw your own water in there. But
you have to put your own water in to flush your toilet?
Yeah, so that was...
So actually, there wasn't the running water.
There wasn't running water,
but there was
the sewer. There
was pipes, so the sewage would be able to go away.
That went out somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And so, so that was that. And then here I was up in the northern desert of Kenya, and someone was showing me around, and all of a sudden we came upon this. There's some camels out there, and there's some a little shepherd boy with his camels and stuff, and all of a sudden we came upon the group of about 5 people or so. They were huddled around this thing. I go, I wonder what that is. So I had 5 people out in the middle of the desert. What's that all about? And I walked to, and then they had this hole. It was about 3 feet around, maybe 1 meter around, and it was about 10 feet deep. And there's a little boy down at the bottom, and he's standing in about 6 inches of water, and it's murky brownish water, and he's got a cup and a Cool Whip bowl, something like that, and he's filling up a gallon or 2-gallon thing of water, and he holds it, puts it up to the people, and they drop him down another one, and he's filling up these things, and filling up his this thing of water. So they dug down into where the water level was.
Oh, okay.
And it was a well. And a little boy down there just filling these things up. Once you fill up your thing, then you have to carry this water back to the village. Oh my gosh, water is heavy.
And definitely it is.
And you have to do this. And you know what? One thing I learned that in here, if we want water, we go down to the 7-Eleven store. We get a Coke. We get a bottle of Fiji water. We get a bottle, whatever. And it's just automatic. But if you're in a desert and there's nothing around you, you're thinking about water all the time, because I'm thinking like, what if I run out of water? And you're thirsty all the time, and these guys drinking out of that thing, and the
do they drink that water, or do they clean that water?
I'm sure they may clean it somehow, but it was just a little bit rust colored. It was a little bit tinted, and normally I would not want to drink that. But I'm out in the desert, and I go, I'm going to drink just like they did. And I drank, and I drank it down because it was good stuff.
Now, did these people live out there in that particular desert?
Yeah, there was a village. There was a village.
And
right
the
there.
and the government did not provide them with any resources of water, like piping in water or anything like that.
Well, the government is there to help people, that's for sure, and people have to help themselves. And there wouldn't be a village there unless there was some water, right? You got vast tracts of desert where there's nobody living there. All of a sudden you come upon a little community where there might be 1,000 people or a couple, 20 or 30 people, I don't know. But there's the reason they have a village there is because there's a source of water. Oh, okay, great.
Like
So
they might have an oasis.
a natural spring or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So with that comes someone, built a house there. Oh, okay, I got this little thing, and people come by, they trade with me. I'll give you some water if you give me whatever you have. Okay, another house gets built, 10 years later, I don't know. And all of a sudden there's a little community, and all of a sudden there's a village that springs up. And that happens around the world, no matter where you are. And here we have our cities too. But if someone found a little thing out in the desert that they could do, and they could make a lifestyle for themselves, they'll build a house there, and then they'll start subdividing, and one thing leads to another. Get civilization, right?
My goodness. Well, in all these travels that you have done, Christopher,
Yes.
what and where have you seen the most need for people to be helped to just survive and to get the bare necessities of life? Are there places that you have been to and experienced where, when we think about a third world country and people are not getting the type of education like we get here, or the medical care, or even water, where are the worst places you've been to?
I guess.
Or many.
Okay. I guess the worst places could be a war zone where people are shooting each other. Okay. So once you get to that.
And where would that be? Could you tell us?
Well, I happened to be one time on the border of Thailand and Cambodia. The Khmer Rouge were in charge of Cambodia at the time, and they were having massacres there, and they were having a genocide. That's a crazy place. That's a crazy time. If you ever saw movies like The Killing Fields, where they killed off a lot of people and 1 million people died.
Was this during Vietnam War you're talking about, or afterwards?
This was after the Vietnam War.
Oh, it still was going on.
Yeah, but there was, I think the Khmer Rouge were there from the mid-'70s to the 90s type of thing. But there were still pockets of them in the jungle, and they couldn't get rid of them for a long time. And I was there. So when the bullets are flying, that's really difficult, and people, have to go somewhere else. They become internal displaced people, or they become international refugees. So you it just makes sense. If bullets are flying over here, you want to go over there to get away from it. And it's a disruption of all economic activity. And sometimes there can be famines. There can be natural disasters. There can be tidal waves and tsunamis, earthquakes. There can be a lot of things that disrupt the natural thing. And that's when the international community comes to help. And I'm sure the Lions do a lot of good things around the world. And
Definitely.
All types of organizations do that, both NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and regular governments too. They help people when there's a time of need. Now, when we go to places, sometimes we have to make, as volunteer organizations like Lions Club, we have to make sure that we have good hearts, but we have to have a good head to go with it. And someone in Central America once told me this: "You North Americans, you're very you have a good heart, but you have to have a good head to go with it." And I said, "Could you please explain that to me?" Well, you come down here and you see someone begging for money, and maybe out of the goodness of your heart you give him $5, and to you that's $5. It's a cup of coffee at Starbucks. to him, that's the equivalent of a month's wages. You know, he will never ever work again in the rest of his life. Why? Because he'll just be looking for another white face to give him some free money, the equivalent of a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 for us to survive in a month. He might be able to work that $5 and go a month on that type of thing. So
would that be someone with a family too?
I don't know. It just depends on what he buys. You know,
Right.
but the thing is, you don't want to just go jump in feet first and start giving away free money, because people will become dependent on it. It's just like someone who, here's some free heroin. Let's go out and here's have some. Pretty soon you're hooked on it, and then you have to keep coming back. So you got to make sure you temper your goodness with some smartness. Go and help people do good things, give them hope, give them ideas, teach them how to do things, and then give them the ball and let them run with it. You can't keep on doing it for them. So just like us helping, just taking a dictator out of Iraq, for example. You can help them for a certain amount of time, then they got to help themselves. You got to take it from here. We can't keep doing this for you. You know, we're going to throw a lot of money into it, and you're just going to get dependent on us big guys. And you know that just builds resentment on both sides. It builds resentment on us guys who are footing the bill, and it builds resentments on them who are receiving it. They find out that they're addicted to this, and it's not good for either side. You got to be able to help people have a stake in it. You help them with their infrastructure, and you give them some good ideas, and then let them figure out how to do it. Does that make sense?
Right, definitely. So what you're saying is that the best thing to do to help people, like in the third world countries, is to give them understanding of life survival skills. Mm-hmm. Teach them those skills and how to use the resources they have, and then let them start developing the way they want to, and not having, like the United States, telling them everything that they need and then providing everything they need, and they do nothing. They just take instead of building for themselves in their own country. Yeah. So what we should be doing as like volunteers or people that want to help at third world countries is basically giving them resources to learn how to help themselves. Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
give them a step up type of thing. Help them out, but try to temper it with some common sense, and let them take the reins as quickly as possible.
Now, have you seen that happen in your travels?
Yeah,
to a good extent, that a group of people or a village or a town really learned maybe from you or from some other organizations, and took hold and took care of themselves.
Yeah, for example, the dozen computers that we put into that hospital in northeastern Nigeria 10 years ago and beyond, that's still a going entity right now, and they hire out, they sell internet access, I guess. It's like an internet cafe. You can get on the internet, pay your 10 cents a minute or whatever they charge. I don't know what it is.
And they're doing that at this hospital, where you put these in?
They have a computer center there. They not only use the computers for their own hospital, but they also rent it out to different people.
And where is this hospital located? You said
it's in Bu, Nigeria,
Nigeria.
Bu, Borno State, Nigeria.
And how big is the hospital? What kind of services? Is the hospital up to date, or is it?
Oh, that was a pretty small hospital, but it was, it's up to date. I mean, for what they had, it wasn't a huge inner city, big skyscraper or anything, high rise or anything like that. But it was a hospital that had a couple different things that they could treat the people with. It was small potatoes, but it was fun.
Now, in your book, I want to go back to your book because I've got to read it myself.
Swimming to Angola and Other Tips for Surviving the Third World. Yes, there it is.
Now,
right there.
you have in there how to travel from the United States going down to South America.
Yes.
If I wanted to go, what would be, say, 4 of the main things you would want me to know about?
Be aware and be gracious. Those are the
Be
top
aware of what?
of things that are around you, and be gracious to the people that you come upon, because you're a guest in their country, and be aware that someone might be wanting to sneak up over you and take everything you own over there. So,
Right.
something like that. So just be aware of if there were bad things over here to the left, then I would go over here to the right very quickly. So
Right.
get away from that type of thing. So just be smart and don't be doing anything that's don't get mixed up with trouble. I think. Use common sense. Do you need some examples or what?
Well, when I was traveling with the Maritime Academy, and we went to Mexico, we pulled into ports in Peru, we pulled into port in Santiago, not Santiago, Chile, but Manzanilla, Chile, Valparaiso, Chile, excuse me. And prior to going there, we were students at. I was from Cal State in Monterey Bay. And we would each be assigned a different country, and we would have to research where the embassy was, where the hospitals were,
Right.
what the government was like, where the police or authority, whichever it was called, where they were located at, and did they have telephone service or what? So when we arrived there, we were able to understand how things are in the culture.
Right. Now, when I was to answer your question, I was driving down to Panama, for example, and I happened to be in Nicaragua, and I went in the capital city. I said, "Hey, I'm here. Could do some volunteer work if you want me." And they said, "Oh, yeah, here's a list of volunteer things." So I chose this one in the southern part of the country. That's on the way to Panama, where I'm going. It was in Granada, Nicaragua, and it was happened to be a women's shelter. And they set it all up using the telephones or whatever. They said, "Okay, they're expecting you this day. Go ahead and down." So I went down there and introduced myself. "Hi, I'm your volunteer." Okay, so I took I took a couple of days, because the first day or two just cleaning up the place, so taking up all this trash and stuff and taking it down and truckloads down to the dump and throwing things out. If you make your house look nice and beautiful, you're gonna be able to do things from there. I also taught English there, and I set up some of their computers and stuff. But I taught them how to have a pride of ownership, you might say.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
there was this big mango tree, and they had everybody's eating the mangoes, and they're just tossing the peels on the ground, and like there were fruit flies all over the place. Man, the place was a mess, So I picked it all up, and I got them to have a trash can there in the common area, and I got them to have a trash can in every room.
So you
right?
were teaching them.
Teaching them about basic sanitation and stuff, and have someone to clean up the trash can once a week, once a day over there, and so lo and behold, I thought nothing of it, and I said goodbye to them a couple of weeks later, and I went off to Panama, and I kept in contact with these people, Christmas cards and stuff like that for several years. Then about 6 years later, I was in San Diego, and I was at an international party at Christmas time, and this gal had just come back from Nicaragua, and I said, "Oh, that's interesting. I served at Granada in Nicaragua." She goes, "Oh, that's where I was too." She said, "Man, the mayor of the town is on this big kick. He wants to have a trash can everywhere in the city."
So you left something there.
I hope it was me. That was just something fun that was good. Made my heart warm, because you're constantly planting seeds of ideas to people along the way, and you never really know if they're going to take hold and what's going to happen from them. I always try to do something really good for people, and lo and behold, it's good to find out that 6 years later, they took it citywide, and maybe they take it nationwide. Remember, we used to, in the 60s, we used to throw trash out the car windows and stuff.
I remember that.
Nobody cared about
nobody
it.
cared.
All of a sudden, they had a commercial saying, "You got to pitch in to clean up America."
Right.
And they had the Indian with the tear coming out.
remember
That was
that.
so touching that
Yep.
everybody now does not throw trash out the car window anymore. Okay? It was just a little bit of education. And I happen to teach these guys this, and maybe they can teach the entire country from there. So it's just helping out along the way.
So as Lions in all of the different third world countries. I've seen some of the websites and received emails. Some of them I've received in their country language, which I can't understand. But we all have the same motivation, that we serve our communities. And I'm quite sure that in some of the third world countries, Lions are planting those seeds that you're talking about.
That's right. That's right. I may not be there for the palm tree that grows out of it, but someone might be in the shade of that sooner or later. So that would be nice. The mango
that's
tree.
Wonderful.
The mango tree.
Well, I really think that the book that Christopher Blin
Yes.
has written, Swimming in Angola.
Swimming to Angola.
Swimming to Angola.
And other tips for surviving the third world.
I think this would be a great book to read for lots of Lions, especially Lions that are going to be traveling in the third world countries, to get an understanding before you go. Because I found when I traveled with the Maritime Academy, learning about the country or the city was the greatest thing that made my whole visit 100% better. And I think we're just about reaching the end of our day. I could sit here and talk with you for hours on these issues, and I hope you'll come back.
Have me back anytime.
I know you're traveling. How long you staying here in Stockton? How long have you been here in Stockton?
I've been here 6 years now.
6 years?
Yeah.
Well, what brought you here?
A woman. A woman.
Well, he's a romantic.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks.
Because you've got an awful lot to offer, and I would like to invite you to come back again.
Well, thank you. I'll talk
have
with
more discussions on these issues, because I think it helps people that are understanding some of our other Lions clubs. I've gone to Lions clubs in South America and in Grand Cayman and other places in the United States, and to share what we can about the local people and what we do is a great experience, and I think you have so much more to offer us.
Yeah, teach them what we know and have fun while you're doing it.
Exactly.
They see you having fun, they're going to have fun too. Yeah.
Exactly.
I love it.
All right.
Good.
Okay, well, I want to ask you to come back next Monday and at 2 o'clock at KXVS radio and on Facebook. And I hope to see you then. And if you have any questions, contact me here, Connie O'Day, Lion Connie O'Day from the Lions We Serve live radio show. Okay? Well, thank you very much, and thank you to Christopher.
Thank you, Connie, for having me.
Bye, everybody.